Hello and welcome to another episode of Beer Man's No Bull Beer Reviews. Today I have another beer from Dancing Gnome Brewing Company out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and Resonant Culture Brewing Company out of Charlotte, North Carolina. So as soon as I heard that Pittsburgh Brewery was doing a collaboration with my favorite Charlotte brewery, I was all over that. Especially when I found out that it was something a little bit unique, something that they're both very good at, but that neither one had really tried to do before. So I was definitely interested in that. This beer is called Lost Self. You can see the Dancing Gnome logos there. Of course, Resonant Culture is very big there. And then it just says on their label American Ale. It all Dancing Gnome stuff always says that. But so this is a 12% triple IPA. But the unique thing about it is, at least this is what Dancing Gnome claimed, they tried to make something as close to a milkshake IPA as possible without adding any actual lactose, vanilla, or fruit. So I'm guessing there's just a lot of oats and stuff to try to give it like a creamy body, and then very, very juicy and or maybe orangey hops. But yeah, I've heard people who've had this say that it really does seem like a milkshake IPA, but if they're claiming there's none of that's in there, so that's interesting. I'm generally not the biggest fan of milkshake IPAs, but the thought of trying to emulate one without actually putting any of the stuff in it interests me a little bit, so I definitely I'm interested to see how this turns out, but I think it's, and this is, I said it's 12%, so it's definitely a big guy, and that's the other thing. Triple IPAs, I mean, even 10% sometimes can show a little bit of booze, but 12, I don't know, we'll see. So as you can see, it pours a very, very cloudy, darker golden color, almost orange, with a really nice fluffy white head. Oh man, that's one of the freshest smelling hazy IPAs I've smelled in a long time. There's a lot of that really deep, like sweaty mosaic character in this. I do get something that is a little garlicky or oniony, which reminds me of Resonant Culture, but it's not like super in your face. It's definitely a little bit of dank and resinous as well. I would say that just the fruity character is more like orange and pineapple. I guess there is a little bit of a tropicalness, but it really does have a lot of different hop character going on at once. I don't really smell any booze either, which is surprising. We'll see. So it is very creamy and soft for not being a milkshake IPA. So I think they nailed that. I don't know that it's overly fruity, or I mean, it doesn't have a vanilla character. So I don't know that it really truly emulates. I guess this is probably as close as you can get without adding those things. That's really what makes the difference between those things and this. But for a 12% IPA, this is really, really good. It's surprisingly not crazy. I mean, it is sweeter than a double, like an 8%er, or of course like a 6%er, but it's not like over the top sweetness. I think it's because it's so chock full of hops. I have found, like with Dancing Gnome, and even Resin Culture sometimes, like if they make a lower alcohol IPA, it works because they know they have to pull it back a little bit on the hops because everything else is smaller. And if they make a triple IPA, then the sweetness, the residual sweetness from the beer, covers up the immense amount of hops they put in. But sometimes the double IPA, like there's not enough malt and booze to balance out the hops that they put in, and it's overkill. But this actually really works. Like it is super juicy, tons of hop flavor, but like pretty much zero perceived bitterness because the sweetness is canceling it out perfectly, and because of the bitterness it has, it doesn't come off as overly sweet either. You know, and I'd like to think that maybe Resident Culture showed them something in ways of balance, but to be honest, I mean, their stuff's more balanced than Dancing Gnome usually, but they're still not the most balanced IPA brewer. But they definitely, I never have anything that I don't like the flavor of. Sometimes they're just too over the top with the hops. Yeah, this is. It's funny because usually sometimes I can feel the booze here, but not taste it. But this is the complete opposite. Like I taste it, and even like feel a little bit of a sting on the tongue that I'm assuming is booze and not hops. But I'm not really getting it in the throat. Maybe it's so strong it's numbing my throat. I have no idea. But this is a massive beer. This is not for the faint of heart, but for people who love haze stuff and love big boozy stouts, this is kind of a great combination of the two. Of course, it doesn't taste like a stout, but it's freaking 12%, and it's on the sweeter side. Honestly, I don't think it. I think if you made this less sweet, then the booze would just be like way too in your face. So I think the sweetness is needed there to balance the hops. The hops have to be there in the abundance that they are to cover up the booze and the sweetness, so those balance out. And between the two, they make it drinkable. You know, I I don't know about the whole like, oh, this tastes like a milkshake IPA thing, but if they're saying we're trying to make a huge triple IPA without, or quadruple IPA, whatever the heck they want to call it, you know, and it still be drinkable, I think they did a very good job. To be honest, for a 12% IPA, I can't imagine it being better than this. I really can't. And the other thing too is the flavor. Let me go back for one more taste. The flavor is juicy. It has none of that like oniony character or garlicky character that I was getting in the nose, which I still get in the nose, but I don't really get it in the flavor at all. It's not as like much of a sharp character in the flavor as it is in the nose, and I'm still getting the orange and the pineapple, but I'm getting a little bit more of a tropical like peach and mango taste. Really, I would like to get more of this, but it's just such a big beer. I can't, like, I would have to drink them soon because I don't want it to fall off. And if the hops started fading in something like this, it would be really bad, I can imagine. So I probably won't try to get more, but it's still tasting really good now. So if you see this video shortly after I post it, I would recommend trying to seek it out if you love like huge triple IPAs. This is probably, this and the Rock from Dancing Gnome are probably, and what's it called? Dance Until You're Dead from Resident Culture. These three are probably, and that makes sense, one from each one, and then a collaboration between the two. Maybe this is just the best of both worlds. Yeah, it is really great triple IPA from both breweries. I'm glad I got a chance to try it, and I hope they make it again. So I can just get one more can again at some point and get it again, but not have to drink a couple really fast like I would now if I seeked it out. So I think that on my scale of buy, drink, dump, this is definitely a buy. I don't know what it costs. It was probably a little pricier because it's a triple IPA, but it's still worth it, and it's a pretty unique thing, so it's definitely worth giving a whirl, and it's a really good beer. I think that's all I got on this one. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think, and I look forward to doing the next one. Thanks.